So the fifth module will start with the employee records. Okay, so the topics that we'll learn is maintain employee records. What all details you have to maintain regarding the employees and what are important details in UK payroll, then annual reporting and other tasks connected with payroll. Okay. A summary of the legal obligation associated with the payroll systems as well. Let's start with this module. First, we'll learn the maintain employee records. So employers must keep their employees' personal data safe, secure, and up to date. If you remember, I told you about the data protection. It is very strict. So every employee in UK has a right to know if their data is safe or not. They can raise questions with the employer, and we have to answer that. If we have made any mistake, like if employee is scared about the data, or if employee is worried or concerned, so they can ask why you're keeping this record, what details do you keep about me, and how do you ensure that this is secure, who all can access it. Okay, and if something is not related to payroll, they can ask why do you need this information. Okay, if it is not related to payroll, so these kind of information rights employee has in UK. So employers can keep certain details and about their employees without their permission. So some details we can keep without permission, like it is understood, basic details like we need employee name, okay, date of birth. So we need employees NIC number as well. So whatever is related to payroll, some information we can ask and keep it without their permission. Like we can hold it because we need it for payroll purpose every time. If employee leaves the organization, that is a separate thing. After 6 months or 1 year, if we need to delete those data if required. But after leaving also, we have to keep some data for the employee so that in future, if we need any audit request, so we can have those data like the basic details we can keep. So let's see what all details are important. Then employers need their employees permission to keep certain types of sensitive data. So what is this? This also we'll see. What are the details we need employees permission to keep it with us? Okay, if we require those data. So the general details that we need, as I discussed, employers can keep the following data about their employees without their permission. Okay, they can keep it like, and they can ask during the employment, and they can keep this information like name, address of the employee, date of birth, sex orientation, then education and qualification, because these are important details. Even employee knows it, that will need it. Okay, then these details as well are we can keep without permission. Work experience of the employee, because we'll need it for background check and for our records, training purpose, and maybe other purposes, internal purpose. National insurance number, as I said, we can keep it because it is very important for employers. But it doesn't mean that anyone can access it. We have to keep it secured. We can keep it without employee permission, but employee can ask, is my data secure? If by mistake data protection breach happens, as I said, if we are sharing by mistake this employee's payslip with another employee. So in UK, what is important? All the employees who get incorrect data or details, they will highlight immediately to the manager and to the certain team that I am not the original owner, it to be by mistake. So they do it. So they can also reach out to the employee for whom we have shared the data by like they can reach out. So it is very important for employer, as soon as we come to know that we have sent incorrect details, so both the employees we have to inform the one whom we send the data by mistake and the one whose data was sent, because that employee doesn't is not aware that his or her data was shared by mistake. So we have to inform them. Okay, we have to take corrective action. Like the person who has received it, we have to ask them, please delete the data and let us know. Please confirm after deletion of the data. Then they will confirm. Then we can inform the employee whose data was shared that we have by mistake shared it, but we have asked the employee to delete it, and we can ensure that all the data has been deleted from that employee records. So this then employee can raise a concern in future. How do you ensure that it will not be shared? So we have to give certain action plan. So this is employee has right to ask. Okay, in UK. Then text code, you know that we need it. It is very important. So we can store this in the data in history also. Even after an employee leaves, we can keep this in our records, because after 1 year, if you want to check that this employee's details, then we can check it. Emergency contact details, this is also important. We have to keep during emergencies in the employer, in the employment. Then employment history with the organization. Okay, we can keep this information as well, like how many years this employee has worked in the organization, in which department this employee has worked. So those all history data we can keep with the organization. And even the previous one, like if employee has previous experience, like we store the work experience of the employee, we can also store some data about previous employment. Like if employee shares the relieving letter from the previous organization, those details. Okay, now these are also the data we can keep without, also without their permission. Okay, so employment terms and conditions, like we call it as an offer letter in India, an appointment letter. As I said, uh, in UK, they can call it as contract letter, employment contract, or else employment terms and conditions. Okay, so in which there will be salary and all the benefits mentioned, like how many holidays they will get, how many hours of work they have to complete, and what will be the pay rate of the per hour. Okay, like annual salary will be mentioned, and employee can calculate that hourly sorry, hourly rate as well. Then benefits, what benefits employee will get, that will be mentioned in the letter. Some companies may not have that good HR tool, so they will keep contract letter. So whenever they receive any kind of request, for example, absence policy for this employee may be different with another employee. Like I explained to you, you remember that there could be multiple entities within the organization. So one entity may be paying 10 weeks full pay of maternity, other may pay 12 weeks of full pay. So those information will be under the absence. Okay, and what LOA policies are there, how many unpaid leave they can take, how long. So these information, some organization who is not big, so they cannot store in the system. So what they can do, they can store the contract letter in the system. So whenever they need to process this payment, they can refer what contract employee is on and what kind of payment we can process. Like is it 12 weeks full pay or 10 weeks full pay? I'm just giving an example. Okay, some organization may have a good software, they can fit in based on contract. So some softwares are configured in a way that will just put the job code or contract of the employee, like the entity, and it will automatically calculate the entitlement, like if it is 12 weeks full pay or 10 weeks. So system has that configuration also, they can calculate maternity payment automatically to the software. So this may happen, depends on the organization, but we can keep this information about the contract of employee, and in future also we can keep it even if after employee leaves. Okay. Any accidents connected with the work? Okay, only the accidents connected with work if it happens during the work, because there could be something where maybe employer has to compensate. Okay, if it is due to any factory accident or any kind of travel accident, so employer has to keep that record for their purpose. Okay, apart from if it is personal accident or anything out of work, then it is not mandatory. Any training taken in the organization, okay, which is required by the organization and which was uh, uh, like shared with the organization by employee, like maybe employee has done an MBA, for example. Okay, but they have done an MBA which is required in their organization, like in the field which was required, and they have shared the information, then they can keep it. Okay, but if it is something that employee doesn't share, it doesn't relate to work, that is fine, it is outside. Okay, and it's something that any trainings that employee has taken within the organization, like we have internal trainings. Okay, like there could be a big training, 6 months, 1 year training, any training which has been taken in the organization, that record employer can keep. Any disciplinary action against the employee if there is any kind of misconduct, so those are very important, they can keep this. That this is the, okay, this is the same list repeated, I see. Okay, then these are the sensitive data which will need employees permission, because at times you'll see this these details are not related to payroll, okay, or HR. If any for any reason we need it, we have to ask employee. Employee can have question like, why do you need this data? Can you explain me what you will do with this data? They have full right. They can deny also. Okay, like there are few details like race and ethnicity. In UK, it is not required because there is nothing to do with taxation or employment. In some countries, like Singapore, we need it if it is a Chinese employee, like the person is Chinese or Indian, or there are few more like one more country, China, Malaysian, and there are few countries people they need their race. Okay, because what happens uh, in Singapore there are private institutes. Okay, uh, for Muslims they have a different, yeah, Muslim caste also they need religion as well. So they have like for mosque they collect some contributions from employee salary. If the employee is a Muslim, okay, and they deduct some portion of the salary so that they can maintain their mosque in Singapore. Like for from Hindu they collect some contribution different, wherein they can maintain Hindus basic like religion, religious temples or maybe something which is related to Hindu religion. So there are few things like Indian, Chinese, Muslim. I know about this. So this is something in Singapore, but in UK we don't have this kind of policy or something. So employee may ask, why do you need this information? Okay, and political membership or opinions. Okay, this is also in India also we cannot share it. Like so in UK if it is required, maybe that is this is sensitive even if they share the information. Then trade union membership, even this they can opt which union they want to be member of, but it is sensitive. Okay, they don't want to disclose. Like they can say that you just deduct this contribution from my salary, and they can select the union where they want to contribute. That is a different thing. Okay. Then genetics. Why do we need genetics? We don't need genetics. Only I think now in some companies have that access, which is based on the fingerprints or eye retina. Maybe for that reason, maybe they can ask maybe a top security company if this is related to some security. Okay, then they can share, and then they will need the permission like biometrics. Okay, for example, if your fingerprints used for identification. Okay, then health and medical conditions. Uh, only if there is a situation, maybe employer can ask, like, and they can observe they found something wherein they see that employees getting sick multiple times, or they see uh, some kind of symptoms which is very severe in the organization. They can it is visible clearly, so they may ask like if it is impacting their work, and then employee has to provide the permission when they ask, and the employee has right to ask why you are asking the
So,
information. In sexual orientation or history, okay, which is if they don't want to share, it's fine. We can ask only if required due to any reason, if we need it. Like you see, now people are changing the gender easily, like they have operations, so they may ask. Because I'll tell you now only, okay, the reason. So in future you'll remember this. What will happen in UK? Male and female both had different retirement age earlier. Now, then it went 65. Now I need to check because it has been changed to 67, I think. But earlier it was 67 and 65. Male it was 67, female it was 65, if I remember, long back. This may not happen like in normal cases that at this age they will change the sex orientation. But if they change the sex orientation, their retirement age will be impacted, like male to female or female to male. You understand? That is the reason they may ask these details. Okay, for the retirement purpose mainly, or some benefit will also change for them. Like if they turn to female, they can take adoption leave, they can take maternity. It is not natural, like it may not happen, but adoption leave they can take if they become a female. Like male person cannot take adoption leave, they can just take shared parental. So these kind of benefits will also change, you understand? Like The paternity leaves are only for male. So there are few things which will change, due to which they may ask it. Okay, if they have any doubt, like if that employee was part of that organization only and now they see a change in gender, so they may ask the documentation. Do you have proper certificate and all? Did you register yourself as a change in gender? So these kind of details they can ask due to benefits. An employee has a right to be told. As I said, they have complete right to ask, and we have to tell them the reason. What records are kept? Okay, like employee can say, I have given 15 documents. These details. What all details you needed? What all details are you holding? Okay, so they can ask how they are used. They can ask why they are used and how it was used, and now do you hold it? Okay, how long you will continue to hold it? So they can ask it. Confidentiality of the records, like who all can access, with which department my details are. Okay, and what are the security levels do you have? How the records help in training and development. Okay, if it is required for some training and development, so they can ask how it is used, on what basis you decide this. Okay, maybe the work experience or qualifications they have taken, based on age, based on experience. Like if it is 2 years experience employee, so they will need more trainings, right? So multiple things may happen. So this is one example. The employer has 30 days to provide the information to the employee if employee asks these questions. So the employer has to provide the response within 30 days, or else employee can complain. Okay, then employees must follow rules on data protection. Now you see this, the rule, one basic rule I said, you have to follow this, that you have to inform the person whose data has been breached. That is the first important step. Okay, if you have taken corrective action before that, that's better. Okay, because you have to inform like in 48 hours, or there is some rule that you have to follow in 48 hours. The time you come to know about it, within 48 hours you have to inform the person. Okay, that is important. I need to check that. I don't remember exactly if it is 24 hours or 48 hours, but anyone out of this.